What's up, everybody? I'm going to go over all the different buying options for the quintessential quintuplets. And just so you know, you're going to need a whole lot of this.
This should say M-O-N-E-Y.
That's right, he said it, money. Depending on what you want to actually buy, what your goals actually are, it's going to cost you a whole ton of money for this set. And it's actually fitting because the quintessential quintuplets are actually rich. So this video can be broken up into two parts. I'm going to go over again just quickly the trial deck and what's in the booster box. And then I'm going to go over the different buying options. So I will put timestamps down below. As I talked about on my last video, which I'm going to link above, the quintessential set is a set made up of the 5 trial decks you see here on the screen. You will get all the trial decks. You will get the promo cards. You will get the triple rares, the SRs, and you will get one random SP. If you buy a case which is 5, the assumption is you will get all 5 signed cards. And the signed cards look like this. Let's talk about the booster boxes. Why is this set so freaking expensive? Why do you need money? The reality is because of the actual rarities, what's actually in the box. So if you take a look at the left side of the screen, this kind of lineup that you see here on the left, you would have saw from Kaguya, Bofuri, and all these rarities apply to them. You might remember this from the videos I've done on play sets or mapping. If you haven't, I'll link up the play set up there. And we have the rarities in order: common, uncommon, rare, super rare, double rare, climax common, special rare, triple rare, climax rare, promo, secret rare. Why is secret rare crossed out? That is because this set does not have a secret rare. But what they decided to do was add super special rare. We have Hanayome rares and we have double rare plus. As you can see here, this would be your SSPs, super special rares. These are pretty cool looking. I love the Itsuki picture. I think that's awesome. We also have your Hanayome rares, which is based off the manga art. As you can see here, there is no signature. Next, we got our SPs from the booster box as well. So here they are. As you can see, they are not signed. And last but not least, these are your double rares. And don't fight me on this one. If you're going to play a Miku waifu deck, you're going to need that double rare. Let's go over the drop rates in JP for one case. What we saw with one case was 1 super special rare, 1 Hanayome rare, 2 special rares, 20 double rare plus, and 80 double rare. Again, going back to my playset video, when you think about that, your playable cards are your double rares, and for this set, it will be the double rare plus. That means you need to have those cards for whatever deck you're going to play. Again, if you want to play a waifu, you're going to need that. If you're going to play a specific deck, you may not need it. But at the same time, if you wanted a whole complete playset, you will need that card. When you do the math on it, 20 double rare pluses mean you had to open an entire case to get one playset. If you look at the double rares, that means there were 2 play sets of double rares inside of that case. The reason why you're going to see play sets being more expensive than that $250 mark on, let's say, 7 Deadly Sins, on Fate Stay Night, is because of this 20 double rare pluses. When you think about actual drops inside of a case, JP is different than English. They have different case quantities, different stuff inside of it. So the hard part is, even though the left side is showing what the JP cases is, the drop rate in them, that does not mean that that is going to be the same thing in English. Because as you could see in the middle of the screen, this is the JP quantities. And one pack is actually 9 cards. One box has 16 packs. One case is 18 boxes. When you take a look at the right side, you have one pack equaling 8 cards. That's what we have in English. One box is 20 packs. One case is 16 boxes. If you actually multiply all that together, they don't equate to the same amount of cards. I don't understand why they do that. Don't ask me why. Don't have a freaking clue. But for whatever reason, they are different. And as you know, or you may not know, Below are pictures of the actual boxes. The one on the right, obviously you could see I doctored. I just slapped that picture on. But on the left side is what the JP boxes look like. They're flat. I like that better. Where on the right side you have a standing box, and I think it saves more room to be the one on the left.
Okay, what is better? A medium amount of good pizza or all you can eat a pretty good pizza?
A medium amount of good pizza.
I want you to go over what Michael Scott from The Office just said. If you need to pause this video, rewind and watch it again, do so. I also want you to stop and think about the questions on the screen. I don't care if you literally have to write it down, but you need to do that before going into trying to buy some of this stuff. So, how much money can you responsibly spend? Are there other sets coming up that you want? And are you looking to play, collect, or both? When it comes to buying product for Weiss Schwarz, you're normally left with basically 4 different things. You're left with buying sealed product, and that sealed product is in the form of trial decks and booster boxes. All right, I know you can buy a case of them, but in the end, that's what you're going to be buying. There are the supply sets, but who cares? Trial decks, booster boxes. You have people selling play sets to you, and then you have your 4th option of buying singles. When it comes to the quintessential quintuplets, this is what I talked to you about. This is going to cost you a bunch of money. And first up is your appetizers. When I think about appetizers, right, it's to get the meal going and all this. And when you think of it in card terms, what appetizers actually are trial decks. Trial decks is your introduction to this game. They are a low-cost way to try out the game. It's got an instruction manual, it got a play mat, it got 50 cards ready to go. You could even win a freaking tournament with it. But in most cases, you will have to customize that trial deck or buy booster boxes and make a deck from that using some trial deck cards. But no matter what, trial decks were not totally meant to be you're walking into every tournament and using them. You can win, like I said, but on a consistent basis, you will not be winning with it when paired up against somebody with a custom deck. With that said, what I did was take a look at a bunch of different sellers, and I'm going to name them just because if you have nowhere to buy, this is places where you can actually look. Again, I don't vouch for them. Some of them are really awesome people, awesome stores. They actually have YouTube and Twitch channels for the most part. So feel free to check them out. First up, I'm going to name Strictly Broken, TCG. They are out there. They're one of the people that are actually used as a pseudo price guide. I stole their thumbnails out from them, so thank you, Strictly Broken. I hope you don't actually mind that, but I figured since I'm giving you a plug, I don't think you'd mind it all that much. They're great people, so check them out. They're actually doing a TCG presentation stream as well on Twitch, so check them out later if you don't know about that. The next is we got Gold Star Collectibles. We got Iron City Games. We got Ideal 808, and lastly, a bunch of Facebook sellers. Again, nothing wrong with that. If that's how you want to buy stuff, feel free, but check them out. There's a ton of them on there, and what I did with this list was I tried to take a range. At some point, I started taking the low cost one and changing it based on what I saw. What we have up here first is your quintessential set. Your quintessential set is your sealed box. The quintessential set I saw ranged from $169 to $200. Some you have to pay taxes, some you have to pay shipping, so just watch out for that. Again, we went over that. It has all your trial decks, 1 of each SR, 1 of each triple rare, 4 of each TD promo, and 1 random SP. If you choose to buy a case of them, it will cost you from $800 to $875. And again, the assumption is you will get all 5 SPs from buying a case of 5 sets. It only makes sense that way. No matter how that ends up, that's what you'll be getting. And like I said, this is just trial decks. These aren't something that you should be aiming to play with if you want to play competitively. You're gonna need the booster box. So this is your appetizer phase. There are other budget options that you can choose from. As you can see here, what people have done, what sellers have done was break up the girls into foil and non-foil playsets. Meaning, as you can see with Miku here, there are 72 trial deck cards. And then there are also 4 PR cards relating to Miku. So when you buy this set, you are literally getting Miku cards. So if you wanted to play quintessential quintuplets and target a specific girl, this is a low cost option that you can go through. That you can go and say, you know what, I don't have a ton of money. I love this girl. I can't really buy the quintessential set. I can't afford the case. So at the very least, let me get the girl that I want to play with. And as you can see here, it's pretty low, 25 bucks. So back in the day, you would have had to buy 2 trial decks and cram them together. Again, you won't have the SRs, you won't have the possibility at the triple rare, you won't have the possibility to get an SP. But at the same time, if you were just looking to play this game in a low budget manner, $25 is better than paying $40. And then you have down below a Miku TD playset foils, and that is $60. So what again you get there is 52 trial deck cards. You get the SRs. Remember, there were 2 SRs in this thing, so you'll get 8. You'll get 12 triple rares because there were 3 triple rares, and then you'll get the 4 PR cards. So the nice part about that, again, when you think about it, is if you want as foily as you can get, that is the way to do it. It's 60 bucks. And if you think about it, you could do some math on here and see how much they're valuing the SRs and the triple rares. So if you want to reverse engineer all this, you can. You can figure out how they came about those prices. And this keeps on going. So if you take a look, Nina is the same way. Nina is the same as Miku. And again, like I said, I looked at different sellers. So there may be one seller that has this 25 price point, but that doesn't necessarily mean that $60 is the same person. You're gonna have to check a couple different places. And that's the worst part about all of this is there's no consistency on how much people charge. Everybody has a different price points based on their profit margin that they're actually looking for. So Yotsuba here is a champ. I mean, she's coming in at 30.90, Itsuki 30.80, and then we have Ichika 30.50, which kind of seems weird, right? When you think about the foils and all that. That's what I mean. The numbers are a little bit strange. There are other sellers as well that does the all girls play set down foil. So you get all the above 360 20 PR cards, 120 bucks. If you want the foil version, that would be $300. And again, when you think about any of these playsets, do you see the card that is actually missing? The card that is missing is your SP. So if you take a look at the foils for like Itsuki or any of the other girls, you do not see the 1 SP. It is not showing here. So they are not including that, even though you buy a foil one. So if you want to actually have an SP from the quintessential set, that leaves you 2 choices if you're buying any of the below. You need to either buy the singles or give up hope. That's really it. Or buy the setup here. When you do the math on some of this stuff, like when you look at this non-foil version, again, this gives you all the girls, but this one does too. This quintessential set gives you all of the girls. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you get your SP and you get all the girls as well. For the people on a budget, this is a definite way to go to get these different play sets down here. But at the same time, if you have the money, quintessential set is definitely a great option. Time for the entrees. Who wants some entrees? I love my entrees. Even though I do like getting the appetizer that is a sampler, that's a whole meal, basically. I love getting those too, because it's nice to have the different assortment. But anyways, what we got here is your booster boxes. Like I said, it had all those freaking nice rarities in there, right? You got your Hanayome, you got your SSP, you got your SPs, your double rare pluses. So booster box, what I see is $55 to $68, depending on where you buy it. Again, these are different places. So you got Facebook sellers, you got all these other places, actual stores. So booster boxes, $55 to $68. Cases, which is outrageous. That I see one at $830. That's freaking nuts. But I see some at $830. That does not include shipping, so you have to add that on. But we have $830 to $940. That is your sealed version. If you can afford it, that's awesome, because again, inside of a case there is a playmat. No matter what, if there is a reprint, you will not be finding those playmats. I feel like the playmat should be worth something. I'm gonna go with that. It's gonna be worth something. If you cannot afford booster boxes, if you cannot afford cases, if you cannot afford to gamble on opening boxes and you want to ensure yourself actually getting a playset to play with, then down below here we have a playset of non-foils. Similar to what we had with the TD set, we have playset non-foil that ranges from $450 to $550. And what I see here are, you will get commons, uncommon, rare, double rare plus, climax common, climax rare. Again, what's missing from that list are all those special foils. Like you're missing your SRs, your triple rares, your Hanayome rares. You're going to be missing out on the SSPs. You're going to be missing out on the SPs. A guarantee for the actual playable cards means you're missing out on that other stuff. And you get a discount on the price. Again, $450 to $550 instead of buying a case at $830 to $940. Down below, you can add a trial deck playset as an add-on. Someone was actually selling it for 50 bucks. I know people questioned that because it seemed kind of crazy. But yeah, I actually saw it. It said $50. So you can add $50 to one of these prices, and that's just nuts. And then you have upwards of $165 to add a trial deck playset onto there as well. I honestly like the $50. At $165 seems kind of a lot to me. Below here are your playsets for the actual girls. This one comes directly from Strictly Broken. I actually do like this option. Again, I'm not sponsored with them. I've actually never talked to any of the people from Strictly Broken in real life. This is not really just a sponsorship or just throwing a promo out there. It's really, I like the price. I like what I actually saw. What I see here is Miku playset with trial deck non-foil. The best part about this is it throws in the trial deck with it. So when you take a look at the Miku playset, $157.72. And you can see what's different, right? So up here, you had to pay $450 to $550 for the actual whole group of them. If you wanted to break out by girl, again, you can't afford to actually buy a play set with all the girls. You can't buy a bunch of booster boxes and gamble on it, but you want to play a deck, and the trial deck's not going to do it for you. So in this case, this scenario, this Miku playset with the trial deck is awesome because you will be using some of the trial deck cards in your Miku waifu deck. You will be needing those double rare pluses in your Miku waifu deck. What you're going to end up doing here is buying this set, $157.72. I think that's freaking awesome, great deal. This actually threw me off because when I was this was prices as of last night, and I hit refresh and I'm like, what's the deal? How come my cents are off? And I didn't know this, but since Strictly Broken is in a different country, Canada, that it automatically does real-time exchange rates. So I was like, why does this keep changing? So it's pretty neat. If you want to play that whole exchange rate game kind of thing, like try to lock in when it's a good exchange rate, you can try to do that. But in the end, I think this is really cool because as you can see, each girl has different prices associated. Nino was $118, Yotsuba $118, Itsuki $157, Ichika $157. Again, it does not come with the actual SPs, but at the same time, this is a low budget way to actually get a quintessential quintuplet to play with. As we know, there is a volume 2 coming, well, it actually just came out for JP, and if you want to play a continuation, let's say, of your set when that comes out, if it comes out for English, again, I truly believe it will, just because the set should do extremely well in English, that you'll actually have these cards and have them to upgrade when the new set comes out. The other thing that I'm noticing from the sellers this time around is there's this hesitancy to actually sell booster box playsets. Normally they'd be all about it again because they're able to open it, get the shiny cards, and sell it for extra money. But this time around, some of these guys are just selling trial deck playsets and avoiding the booster boxes altogether. And it has to deal with this. When we take a look at this, again, there is that extra rarity, the double rare plus. And since the JP version of boxes and the English version of boxes are different, there's no way to guarantee the actual drop rate that's going to come out of these booster boxes. Because of that, they are not going to touch this, because if they misprice this thing, if there's an oversupply of SPs and it's not worth as much, they could possibly lose money or have to, at the very least, buy a bunch of singles from other people to save face on that. And that is what I'm starting to believe is taking place, that even though this is an actual good set from a collector standpoint, I think that's what's going to be the main draw of the set. It's going to be very scary trying to actually see the drop rates on this when they open it. You know, if you're a big enough store and you have extra cases, that's not that much of a worry. But if you're someone small, if you're only selling 1 or 2 play sets, it could be very scary, especially if it takes a whole case to make a double rare plus, where traditionally it was roughly on a standard set, your basic vanilla set, it would give you 2 play sets. If you imagine having to open a whole case just to get 1 play set, it's going to be nuts. So now that we've gone through all of these different buying options, you are still left with more options. You are left with the option of buying singles. We know that there's going to be a big supply of this stuff. It's just what's going to happen, because people know these SPs are going to be good. These SSPs, these Hanayome rares, they're going to be good. So this thing is going to be opened up. Are you going to buy these play sets, or are you going to hold out for singles? I believe there's going to be a definite amount of singles out there that you can buy and choose from. The double rares, though, they may be on the iffy side. I'm not really sure about that, again, because of the amount in an actual case. And the other side of that is, since people aren't selling play sets as much as other sets, you know, again, they're hesitant to put up play sets until they actually see the amount that comes out of a case. That should mean that there will be enough singles out there to fill that up. With that said, what are you going to do? You know, think about what I showed with that Michael Scott clip, right? Think about the questions that I've asked you before. How much do you have to spend? What are you going to buy in the future? Because at the same time, you don't want to wreck yourself, as in you can't buy the next sets coming up. You know, do you want Ruby? Do you want Rent a Girlfriend? Do you want Hollow Live? Because of the way the product is set up, it gives you a lot of opportunity to figure out what you want from this game. Do you want, like Michael Scott said, to have a little bit of good pizza, or all you can eat? Because the all you can eat version are these cheaper play sets that you can get, right? The trial deck play sets, your waifu play sets. Those are your quantity based things. Or do you want to get foil versions? Do you want to just have, you want to ensure yourself get an SP? There you are, you have a bunch of different options. Again, with the quintessential set, you're guaranteed a sign card. There's going to be a lot, since there is a guarantee, there's always that chance that people buy a ton of those. At the same time, maybe they don't, because of the amount of trial decks, how useful they actually are. At the other end of it, you have your SPs, which means, you know, instead of buying these play sets because you're never really going to play with it, you could actually just devote all of your money to 1 or 2 signed cards and call it a day. In the end, you're going to have to answer these questions for yourself. I can't tell you. All I can do is present to you all these different options, which granted are a lot, but at the same time, this should give you a better feeling about what is actually out there, you know, like what your choices are. It actually reminds me, the reason why I made this into a menu was because with the different amount of buying options that I saw, there was a feeling like I was actually in a restaurant. Like I was looking over here, over here, over here. I was like, which one's cheaper? Which one's better? Does this pizza place taste better than that pizza place? And then when you actually get a menu, and there's been those times where you've seen menus that have like 130 items on it, you sit there for 20 minutes trying to figure out what you want to eat. In this way, the quintuplets is the same way. There's so many different buying options. This time around, it's not just booster box. It's just not a case. It's not just a trial deck. You have foil, non-foil, play sets, 5 different girls. Based on that, I think this is one of those sets that came along at a right time. You have new people coming into a game, but the sooner they educate themselves on the rarity, the different product offerings, the different sellers that are out there, the different places that you can look to buy stuff on. This is actually a tremendous opportunity for people to figure this all out. And at the same time, you're not just blindly buying whatever, you're actually educating yourself on what's in the actual box, how many things come out of it. And in that way, I love the quintessential quintuplets. I cannot wait to actually have this deck in my hand and play it. Miku is going to be awesome. I know, again, people said it's not the strongest deck. It's not the strongest deck, which I don't care. At the same time, I love Miku. That's what this is all about. Weiss Schwarz, again, to me, was about anime and playing your favorite characters against other characters. And in this way, you're going to be playing against her sisters, which I think is really, really cool. So to me, this has nothing to do with meta strength. This has everything to do with what I always heard it and always thought about this game, which is Waifu Wars. I hope this was very helpful to you all. Let me know what you're going to check out, buy, and all that. If you need any help, like I said, my email's in there. Take care, everybody. Have fun.